All right, we're back. We're actually getting started on our full Bible marathon, or we're getting restarted. I wanted to kind of go through some of the chapters before we start Leviticus from the two books that we already read. Even though when I was looking at the video, it wasn't very easy to hear, so maybe this will just give us some more clarity. So it all started with the account of creation in Genesis, obviously, and then the man and woman in Eden, where the man and woman sinned by eating from the apple. Then their children, Cain, Abel, and Seth. I actually don't remember much about Seth, but we know that Cain and Abel did not get along, and Cain killed Abel. And so from then, Adam to Noah. So that's when Noah had to create the ark. And I got it mixed up. I was thinking about Moses built the ark, but Moses led the people out of Egypt. Noah built the ark. And both of them are huge characters, huge figures that probably most people will remember right away. After the flood, it was a long night. It was a long couple of, it was like 40 something. I don't think it was years. Maybe he was 600 years old when the flood came. And the water covered the earth for 150 days. Then it receded. And Noah's sons had a covenant with God. He put a curse, the descendants of Canaan, the son of Ham, and Shem was blessed so that Canaan would become his servant. And then Noah lived another 350. There's the descendants of Ham and Shem and Japheth, his three sons. And then there was the Tower of Babel, where they were all trying to accomplish common language and political unity so that nothing would be impossible for them. And the Lord scattered them because I guess they were kind of leaving him out of the picture. So he had to prove to them, like, hey, you still need a relationship with me. The call for Abram and Sarai in Egypt. And then everyone spoke of her beauty, so she was one of the most beautiful people. And Pharaoh gave Abram a lot of gifts, all kinds of animals. But the Lord sent a plague on Pharaoh because of Sarai. Oh yeah, because Pharaoh took Sarai. Then Abram and Lot separate. They left Egypt. Abram and his wife and Lot. Now, Lot was traveling with Abram, was also very wealthy himself. And at the time, Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. Abram talked it over with Lot. This arguing between our herdsmen has got to stop. They're close relatives. And this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose that land for himself, the Jordan Valley. After Lot was gone, the Lord said to Abram, look, as far as you can see in every direction, that will be a permanent possession for your offspring. Then Abram rescues Lot. A war broke out in Babylonia, and then the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were fighting like all the other neighboring countries, and that's when Abram learned that Lot had been captured, and Abram and his allies had gone and recovered everything that was taken. I guess, yeah, it was Abram's nephew. And then Melchizedek blesses Abram Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has helped you conquer your enemies. And then the Lord had a covenant with Abram, and Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord declared him righteous because of his faith. I'm the one who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land. O sovereign Lord, this is what Abram says. O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that you will give it to me? Then the Lord told him, bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old goat, female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he made those sacrifices. And then he had birth to Ishmael. But it wasn't from Sarai. It was an Egyptian woman named Hagar. So Sarai says that the Lord kept me from having children to sleep with her servant. And then Abram becomes named Abraham on his 99th birthday. And he makes a covenant with Abraham. I will make you the father of not just one nation, but a multitude of nations. And then I'm changing your name. Sarai is named Sarah. Oh, and that's when I think she has a kid in her old age. I will bless her and give her a son from you. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. And then Abram thanked God, bowed down in disbelief because of the miracle that she had a baby when she was 90. And then Abraham intercedes for Sodom, trying to prevent their destruction, but nevertheless, Sodom and Gomorrah become destroyed for their idolatries and sinful ways and lack of faith in God, lack an understanding of love itself. And then Lot and his daughters, so this is Abraham's nephew, they were preserved by God. Oh, that's right. They wanted to preserve their family line, so they slept with Lot. And one of his daughters gave him a son named Moab. I saw a movie about the story of, I think it was either Ruth or Esther. And there was the Moabites that were worshiping rock statue god and they were doing like sacrifice. It's a really good movie, both of them. So if you haven't seen it, it's on my Facebook, but definitely check it out. It's free on YouTube, so don't miss that. That stuff's really good. And then Abram deceives Abimelech, moved south to Negev and settled there. Yes, I know you are innocent, God replied. That is why I kept you from sinning against me. Oh yeah, so Abimelech was, I guess, a king or ruler, and he brought Abraham's wife. I'm not sure Sarah was his sister. Wow. I thought she was already at an older age, but maybe not that old, because they did live very long lives. But yeah, they still wanted Abraham's wife, and he had deceived her, saying that they were siblings. And he was worried that they'd kill him for his wife. But then God, he put a plague on them because he had taken Abraham's wife. And then they talked about it, and Sarah became pregnant. Okay, so this is Sarah's son, Isaac. They had a treaty with Abimelech. Abraham's obedience was tested. Yes, he replied, here I am, take your son. Oh, okay, so this was the sacrifice I made on the mountain for his own son. But just before he sacrificed his son, God was pleased with his faith. I love this depiction they put in the series The Chosen, where at the very end of season 5, before Jesus is about to get crucified and arrested, they show a little vision. I guess God was being merciful and confirming towards Jesus, and he shows him the son of Isaac before he's about to get sacrificed, and Jesus is thinking, it's gonna be okay. It's just a test. He doesn't go through with it. And then Isaac marries Rebekah, and they have a big family. She was a beautiful virgin no man had slept with. She was at the spring filling her jug, and a servant ran over and asked for a drink. The servant watched her, wondering whether or not it was the one the Lord intended him to meet. Then, after the camels finished, she brought him to her home to meet her father, Bethuel. And it works out for them. Our sister, may you become the mother of millions. May your descendants overcome all their enemies. And then the death of Abraham. Ishmael has descendants. The birth of Jacob and Esau. Esau sells his birthright for a meal. He was dying of starvation. So he said, what good is my birthright? And he swore an oath, thereby selling his rights as the firstborn to his younger brother Jacob. Then Isaac deceives Abimelech, and the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go to Egypt. Do as I say and stay here in this land. If you do, I will be with you and bless you. And we all know what happens in Egypt, so Isaac stayed in Gerar and asked there. And when the men asked him about Rebekah, he said, she's my sister again, because he was afraid that they would kill him. Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out the window and saw Isaac with Rebekah. He said, oh, she's obviously your wife, because I was afraid somebody would kill me to get her, Isaac replied. Conflict over water rights. Then Isaac had to make a treaty with Abimelech. Jacob steals the blessing, and he flees to Padan Aram. Jacob arrives in Padan Aram and marries Leah and Rachel and has many children. He then has to flee to Laban, and then Laban pursues him, and he has to make a treaty with them. And then he's giving gifts, and then Jacob, one of the other sons, wrestles with God. He had his 2 wives and 11 sons go across a river called Jabbok. Jacob and Esau make peace. Revenge against Shechem. One day, Dinah, Leah's daughter, oh, that's right, I remember this. Shechem addressed Dinah's fathers and brothers, please be kind to me and let me have her as my wife, he begged. I will do whatever you require, no matter the dowry or gift, I will pay. But Dinah's brothers deceived Shechem and Hamor because Shechem had what he had done to their sister. So he had already, it says raped. So he already crossed the line, and that's when they get revenge. And they tell them that they all have to become circumcised. And then once they're all tired and wounded, they go in and they slaughter them. You have made me stink among all the people of this land, among all the Canaanites and Perizzites. We are so few that they will come and crush us. We will be killed. Should he treat our sister like a prostitute?" they retorted. Jacob's returned to Bethel. So God says to Jacob, "Now move on to Bethel and settle there." There's descendants. After the death of Rachel and Isaac, there's the descendants of Esau, the original peoples of Edom, and the tribes, rulers become established. These are the leaders of the clans of Esau who lived in their place named for them. And then Joseph, let's see, Jacob's son, I believe. Joseph was 17 years old. He reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. And Jacob, his father, loved him, his son Joseph, more than any other child. And so he gave him a beautiful robe, but his brothers hated him because of it. And he was given a lot of dreams as well. But his brothers were so envious, they sold him into slavery. And that's when he ended up in Egypt. And once he was there, even the people that were imprisoning him were helped by his dreams. So he was able to interpret those dreams for them. And then somehow the word got to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was having these dreams. And it was all part of God's plan. So God brought Joseph to Pharaoh, and Joseph became a ruler of Egypt for helping Pharaoh. And then his brothers came to Egypt, and they were having a feast. Oh, there's a dog over here chasing the birds. Joseph reveals his identity. Pharaoh invites Jacob to Egypt. She's beautiful. It's a beautiful dog. Yeah. And then Jacob's family blesses Pharaoh because Pharaoh had saved Jacob's family during the famine. And then Jacob blesses his many sons. Then Jacob has a death and a burial, and Joseph reassures his brothers. And they begin to make peace. And then Joseph passes. And Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath. "When God comes to lead us back to Canaan, you must take my body back with you." So Joseph died at the age of 110. And he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. And then that leads us to Exodus and the birth of Moses. And then Moses has a vision with a burning bush. God replies, "I am the one who always is. Just tell them, I am has sent you." And then he said, "Tell them, the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, he has sent me to you. This will be my name forever. It has always been my name, and it will be used throughout all generations." And then the Lord shows signs of his power. They learned to make bricks with straw and clay, and they build many homes. And then God promised deliverance, because Moses went back to the Lord. "Why have you mistreated your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Since I gave Pharaoh your message, he has been more brutal to your people than not even begun to rescue them." And it's the ancestors. And then Moses has to use many signs to prove his loyalty with God. Many miraculous things and many scary things as well, like different plagues. We've got the frogs, the gnats, and then the livestock. So basically everything that Pharaoh had becomes destroyed. The death of Egypt's firstborn. So yeah, God basically takes everything from them, and he still doesn't want to believe Moses. Israel's exodus. Israel's exodus. And then finally he's able to grab many people out. And he dedicates to their firstborn, sons of Israel, and every firstborn animal. They are mine. So Moses said to the people, this is a day to remember forever. And they developed the first Passover. The Lord gave Moses instructions. From now on, this month will be the first month of the year. And on that 10th day of the first month, each family must choose a lamb and a goat to sacrifice. And if the family is too small to eat the entire lamb, let them share the lamb with another family in the neighborhood. Then Israel exits Egypt, dedicating... Oh, and then they also have the instructions for Passover. And he says, let all the males be circumcised. Then they may come to celebrate the Passover. So the people of Israel followed the Lord's instructions to Moses and Aaron. Another dog. How cute. Aww. They're both so cute. So the Israel's wilderness detour, and then the Egyptians came to pursue them. They escaped to the Red Sea, and Moses sings a song to the people of Israel. Hi. She seems very nice. Aww. And then, as they're escaping, there's manna and quail that come from heaven to feed the people so that they could escape Egypt. And water comes from the rock. And the Lord begins to reveal himself on a mountain. He establishes the commandments and demands fair treatment of slaves and develops a case for personal injury, protection of property, and social responsibility, and a call for justice. 3 annual festivals to celebrate the relationship. A promise of the Lord's presence. Israel accepts the Lord's covenant, offerings for the tabernacle, and plans for the ark. Because the flood was imminent, God knew that there was very few left, and he needed to save. This was the only way he could save them. And he develops the tabernacle. It's a beautiful location and ceremony. Creating priests. Oh, these 2 dogs are like best friends. It's so cute. Creating the incense altar. And then his people, while he was up there talking to God on the mountain, created a false idol for the cows that they were eating. A golden cow. And so God was angry, and he created a rule, and Moses had to make some sacrifices. Then he builds the ark. A small ark. So this is not the boat. A lot goes on. It's easy to get confused, but the tabernacle eventually is completed, and that leaves us at Leviticus. So, procedures for the burnt offering. The Lord called to Moses from the tabernacle and said to him, "Give the following instructions to the Israelites. Whenever you present offerings, you must bring animals from your flocks and herds. For whole burnt offerings, bring a bull with no physical defects to the entrance. Lay your hands on its head, so the Lord will accept it as a substitute, making atonement for you. Then slaughter the animal in his presence, and Aaron's sons and priests will present the sprinkling on the sides and the front of the tabernacle. When the animal has been skinned and cut into pieces, the sons of Aaron, the priest, will build a wood fire on the altar. Aaron's sons will then put the pieces of the animal, including its head and fat, on the wood fire. The internal organs and legs must first be washed with water. So there's all kinds of procedures. If you bring a bird, choose either a turtle dove or a young pigeon. The priest will take the bird to the altar and drain it on the sides. They will remove the feathers and throw them to the east. And it's a little graphic. I'm going to keep it kind of tame if I can. Procedures for the grain offerings. So, choice flour, and then pour olive oil with incense.